Hello everyone! While I'm fucking with this shit, let me introduce you back to Final Fantasy XIV. Let's see what's going on with this webcam. This stupid thing keeps wanting to switch to, autofocus is back on. If there's one thing that bothers me the most, it's the fact that it's like every other day there's an update that goes through that just goes, you know those settings you had all nice and set up perfectly for your stream? We're gonna throw them out the window. Gone. We're back in Final Fantasy XIV. It's day 7. We're going to be working on progress towards the end of this chapter of Heavensward so that we can take a little break. We're going to switch over to a new game for a bit. And that's all I got to say today. We'll try for a little bit more of an update on Monday, maybe. We'll see. I'm going to undeafen here. I think it's Control P.
Oh. Sort of like how World did that, where it came out on PS4 in like April of 2017, and then in or was that 15?
Are you talking about Monster Hunter?
Oops. Yeah, the new Monster Hunter came out. I was talking about how the new Monster Hunter is going to be coming out on PC next year, so you don't need to rush and buy it on console. You don't need to rush and buy it on the Switch right away if you don't want to.
Well, that's fine. I probably won't get it at all, given how I did not have a lot of interest when I tried to do it on PS4. I didn't give it much of a chance, but the combat just was weird, and I didn't really get into it, so.
I enjoy the combat. It's definitely, I don't want to say, it's like purposefully clunky, I think is the right way of putting it. You can't dodge cancel, which is an annoying thing for a lot of people who are used to playing like other games similar to it. And I know that gets a lot of people mad. So you have to like properly time things and only strike when you know you'll have a second.
Okay. Well, yeah, that was certainly part of I'm not generally very good at combat, and so when you have even more nuanced mechanics, like I would probably be incredibly bad at any of the Dark Souls games or Bloodborne because of the same like my caliber for combating games is Spider-Man or the Arkham games or Assassin's Creed, which is push one button and unless you have to dodge, which is the other button, and that's about it. And I'm not very good at those either because I tend to button mash, and it takes me a while to get into the groove of not just mashing the button. And so that was kind of the downfall for Monster Hunter, was realizing that there was a lot more strategy involved.
Yeah, I understand that. I'm used to playing, like, I don't want to say Monster Hunter's on the same level as fighting games, because it isn't, but I'm used to hating a lot of different buttons and knowing, like, when to strike. Like, I don't want to say frame data either, because that just puts it in a realm that I'm not actually good at in fighting games. But, like, recognizing, like, the speed of what my hit is going to go out and the rough angles. That way I know that if it's rushing at me and I do this hit, I'll hit it right in the face as it's running at me and probably knock it over, meaning I don't have to dodge.
Well, I expect you're eager to be on your way. Did I mention your friend was looking for you? If not, Alphino is looking for you. I'll be waiting just outside, stretching my wings. Let me know when you're ready to depart. So, I don't know if you've watched a lot of TikToks or used TikTok a lot.
I know of its existence.
You know it's real. You wish it wasn't.
sort of. I don't really like hate the thing, but like
I originally joined it because I was watching some cosplayers, and it's since grown into something bigger, and I've actually started using it. And there was a video trend that popped into the gaming side of TikTok a couple weeks ago that was, what's a feature in video games that you hate or is overused or something like that? Mine was collectibles in video games because they're awful. But there was one, the girl was talking about fast traveling. And she actually has stopped using the fast travel mechanic in games because she was finding that as soon as she started fast traveling, she stopped having any interest or investment in the world. And she actually played through Red Dead Redemption 2, I think was the one she mentioned. It was either 1 or 2, where she just did not fast travel at all, and she just explored the world as she went. And she had a much more enjoyable experience because she was always engaged in the world and what was going on, and she wasn't just like hopping from point to point looking for things like my complaint, collectibles. And that was something that nearing the end of Far Cry 4, I started to have that same wear out because I was running around the map collecting the treasure chests and things, and I just started to lose interest in what was going on around me because it was, okay, I got this chest, fast travel, go to the next spot, fast travel, go to the next spot.
Yeah, I think it needs to be done. I feel like some games I think it's right. Some games definitely overuse both those features because it's like some games like Fallout 4 has a humongous map, and imagining walking from one corner to the other is daunting to say the least. But like I played Horizon Zero Dawn, I think I fast traveled maybe twice because although it's there, it's such a weird mechanic that it doesn't really tell you how to do. It's just all like, oh, you have a bedroll, that means you can fast travel. End of tutorial. Like, so it's like I knew it was there, but I never used it because I never had to, and like the world was just, it was more fun to explore than necessary. Same with like collectibles. Like Spyro is a collectathon game, and it's a lot of fun to get all the collectibles because that's sort of the point of the game anyway. Same with like Banjo-Tooie or Banjo-Kazooie. Like those games are collectathons, so you're meant to get all the collectibles. But some games, they don't need collectibles, but they put them in there because it's just something extra to do, and it's such a lazy, slapped-on thing where it's annoying.
Yeah, I'll clarify. I love games that if it's built around the aspect of going through and finding things and collecting, that inspires that that sense of wanting to explore and discover things. Spyro, yes, the Spyro games might be my favorite games of all time. I was more talking about stuff like Far Cry 4 that has thrown in a billion treasure chests and all these other things, which are tacked on as ways to make you feel like you're getting more out of your game by extending the length of time you'll be in the world. And yeah, that just most of the time it's tacked on. It's not well done. With Far Cry 4, they even went so far as to lock guns and stuff behind it to make you feel like there was more accomplishment for getting 100 of the posters ripped off the walls or burned up. So
yeah, I mean, I do agree they are overused. Sometimes I like them. Like Skyrim is one that both has fast traveling and collectibles, and like Skyrim's a really big map, so it sort of needs fast traveling because sometimes it's all like you're on one corner of the map and you finally finish your last quest and you look over, it's like, okay, I have a bunch of other quests and they're all on the complete opposite side of the map. It would take me a legitimate day to ride there, like not in-game day, but like actual 24 hours of me pressing the W key. I'm not going to do that. And so it's like, okay. Or like the dragon priest masks in Skyrim as well. That's a collectible. So
you're counting those as collectibles. Okay.
Yeah, because it essentially is. Like, but it wasn't like it's not like go and collect all these posters because it's cool. It was more just like they add it's a sense of having a collectible that's not really necessary, but it was fun to do because it was like it was a collectible that like the game didn't really need to tell you it was a collectible. It was just all like, hey, maybe if you get all of them, something cool will happen, and then you collected all of them and something cool happened. Like
I will say, yeah, those are definitely a collectible. I feel like the difference there is that for something like Skyrim, there's world and story that you can explore and find out and discover by doing those collectibles. And like you said, if you collect all the masks, you find out that there's this other little bit, which is really cool.
But that's what I mean, like, they're implemented correctly. If you're going to give me a collectible, give me a reason to want to collect them. Spyro's collectibles are legitimately friends and family members. You want to save them. Like, there's an actual reason to want to collect them. Sure, there's a difference between Skyrim's Dragon Priest masks, because, you know, there's 7 of those versus, what is it, like 300 dragons per game? Like, they're not quite the same. Yeah, in Spyro.
There's 80 dragons in Spyro. There's 120 eggs in Spyro You're the Dragon.
Okay. So there's not a ridiculous amount, but it's still like, it's not quite the same thing, because like Spyro was definitely a collectathon game. Like, that's the whole point, is just to basically collect and get through the little puzzle levels. While Skyrim doesn't focus on it, but I feel like a lot of games don't focus on it, but they still like give you those excess little things like Far Cry or Red Dead, or like, they're not necessary, they're just in there because why the hell not? And I feel like those are overused versus games that actually, you know, properly use collectibles.
Yeah, I would say a more fair comparison for something in Skyrim and probably any of those open world RPGs is the collectibles from something like Red Dead or Far Cry is the similarity of the fetch quest in Skyrim or Fallout, where they go, hey, I need you to go and collect me 30 Nirnroot. Oh yeah, thank you. That's something that I want to be picking at for the next 3 months of playing as I find them randomly. Yeah,
well, everyone, I'm almost certain that if you went on TikTok and looked at the trend, you'd see at least 80,000 people going, fetch quests, delete them. Because any MMO has like 400, any RPG, I mean, has like 40 different fetch quests at least, and all of them are terrible. Same with, what are they called? The quests where you just have to follow somebody.
Escort quests?
Yes, escort quests. Like, Monster Hunter actually has a joke where they have a single escort quest in Monster Hunter World, and they labeled it the best kind of quest. And it's annoying because you're just stuck following someone who's pushing a stupid cart until a monster shows up for you to kill. And it takes like 15 minutes because you can't just run to the monster. You have to patiently wait for this stupid cart to get there. And it's a joke in the game. And it's still, it's funny, I'll admit, but it's annoying at the same time. And luckily they only did that once. No, wait, they did it twice, didn't they? I think they did it in the expansion right after. Yeah, but still, it was funny because like they kicked themselves at the same time as they did it. They knew what they were doing. They didn't need the escort quest, but they did it just to mess with people.
Yeah, I'm looking back at it, and I'm thinking, like, Far Cry 4 feels like they went, what are the most annoying things from any video game? Let's put them all into one. There's pointless, excessive amounts of collectibles. There were escort quests. I do like some of the stuff. Like, the story, I really enjoyed the story, and I really enjoyed where we went in the ending. And I didn't realize that you actually... Have you played Far Cry 4?
No, but I know about it.
Okay. I didn't know that you had the option of not killing the person that you don't choose to be the leader. I just went in there and shot him. As he bled out, I went, we could have been a tryst. We could have had sweet... not monogamous, polygamous... I don't know, my headcanon was writing them all into a threesome at some point, but that didn't end up happening because I had to shoot one in the head. And then I was looking it up after, and I found out that when you get to that quest, you have the option of not pulling the trigger, and then they'll just leave.
Damn.
I also found out that at the end of the game, you also get the option, the big bad boss, Pagan Min, I didn't kill. And then his helicopter blew up as he was getting away, and I don't know if that was caused by me or if that ended up being just a required thing for the story. I was looking at it afterwards, and apparently both people that you pick to be the leader are just the worst humans. They're just on one end of the spectrum of awful pieces of shit. The girl that I chose, she...
Far Cry games and doing that.
I know, right? Like, there's no good option. It's either you do shitty thing A or shitty thing B. Shitty thing A, which was what I chose, had Amita in charge, and apparently, after the game, after the main story, she just goes and starts enslaving children to work for the opium farms. What? You shitty human being! You wanted to get out of this terrible oppression, and now you're kidnapping people and forcing them into slavery. And on the other hand, the person that I killed, he's just got really, really awful oppressive wants of like sticking to tradition, and he marries the young girl who and like sacrifices her to become their like saint or whatever it's called. I don't remember the term. So like, either way, you pick a terrible ending. And yeah, Far Cry 3 was the exact same way. It's okay, there's 2 bad endings and there's 1 good ending, which I didn't end up picking.
Far Cry 5? I'm not going to spoil anything. I'm just asking if you are or not.
I am. I got the whole set on sale on the Uplay store before I started Far Cry 4. I got them all on sale, and I used the Uplay coins to give me another bonus percentage off, and so I got the whole series for like $8.
Wow, that is actually really good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm going to play 6 at all, because although it looks interesting, I'm just like... I don't know if I want to play it.
From what I briefly saw, Far Cry 3 and 4 are basically the exact same awful storyline, and Far Cry 5 is a little different. Can you confirm that? Or does it stick to the same sort of like cookie cutter?
It's a little different. Like, I can give you like the opening of the game, like if you want, like not spoil anything, just explain like why you're going there. They do the exact same thing in the opening cutscene, like just so you'll have like the base detail of what's happening in the game.
I don't need to know what's happening in the game. I just like that's what I read was Far Cry 3 and 4 have virtually the exact same. You're a person who's not from this world, and then you are suddenly like this deity status when you come to this land. Is that Far Cry 5?
I mean, I guess sorta. Like, you technically must be in this, like, it's really weird the way the story is written, because like your character doesn't have memories of being there, but they're a deputy of Hope County, which is the place that you're in. So clearly, if they're a deputy there, they've at least lived there for a small amount of time. But people all act as if you're someone completely new who's never been seen before, and you're the only person who knows how to use guns properly. Like, so a little bit.
Those were some of the things that just frustrated me the most about Far Cry 4. I'm here to spread my mother's ashes. Okay, pick up this gun and kill everybody in sight.
That's
okay,
what you're not walking in there going, I have no idea what's happening, and then suddenly have to kill people in sight. You're there with the idea of you might have to kill everyone on sight, and then the game happens. Like it's not a shocking moment. It's all like, oh, I guess this is how it's going down this time.
Alright, to the best of my knowledge, we have all that we need for our trip to Zenith, and I believe the Elder Seed Seer and her retinue will soon be making the journey back. It will be remiss of us, I think, not to convey our gratitude to them prior to going our separate ways. Oh, cutscene. Alphino, Bex, I do humbly thank you for your most enlightening experience. Were it not for your pioneering spirit, the existence of these Mughals might have never been revealed to us. 'Tis we who should be thankful, Elder Seedseer. Were it not for your timely diplomacy, they would have never chosen to reveal themselves at all. 'Twas your presence, Kuplo Kop, that ultimately won their trust. It must have taken great courage to leave the sanctuary of the Twelveswood, and we are exceedingly glad that you did. It was my pleasure. I've made so many new friends. Have so many fantastic tales to tell Kinsmoogle back home. It is our home that we must now return. May you ever walk in the light of the crystal. Safe journey, Elder Seedseer. We too must be on our way. Warrior of Light, pray attend closely to your companion, Sir Estinian. Beneath that stoical facade, a storm of anguish seethes unseen. That might just be the eye he's carrying. Nidhogg is probably seething under there. Right, so all of this was as a way of building up to why I've kind of like, I want to take a break from Final Fantasy.
Yep.
The fact that we rush, we kind of rush from thing to thing, and there's a lot of fast traveling to go to the new location and then a fast traveling back. I kind of been disconnected from the story as of late. And so, like, there's part of me that's just like, we're doing this again. And it's also been kind of a slow build, this expansion, which Roger said this one is kind of slow and it gets better as we get to the next ones. And so I went, okay. So there's a good reason to continue. I also know there's a good reason to continue, not because I've seen spoilers, but because one of the streamers, YouTubers that I watch is a big Final Fantasy head as well and played through this, and when they got to Shadowbringers, they were like, oh my god, this is amazing!
Yeah, it really is. Like, there are definitely slow parts, but it's all like, it's got a lot of peaks, especially in Shadowbringers.
So,
yeah, I don't mind taking a break. Just let me know what you want to play.
oh yeah, we ended up talking about Satisfactory for so long that I didn't. So I was thinking about it just before I hopped onto Discord. I asked Roger if he still had it installed, but Red Dead Online?
We can. Me and Roger, we played for a couple hours the other day. It's so you have to make your character, and then you have a mission or two that you have to do by yourself. Even though there's matchmaking in the goddamn thing, like, you have to start up an online mission and do it by yourself before we can all join a group together. I honestly don't know why. But
Well, I did make a character already.
Yeah, you got to do. Roger legitimately just did it the other day, so he knows exactly how many missions he had to do before he was able to join the same server that I was on. It was a little annoying. The problem that we ran into is we were legitimately, like, we were running around doing random nonsense, the same way we used to play GTA, because we didn't really have it, like, unprimed or active, because it's all like, to do a job, you need to have the gold to do the job, which is the, paid for currency. and you can get it slowly by just selling items, but it's such a long problem. Like, we were doing random bounties that I could sign us up for, but like, you can't really direct us. It's more just following with whatever I select until you get enough gold. But even like all that stuff we did the other night, Roger didn't even get like a full gold that way. And you need 15 to sign up for one of the four jobs, I think. I think there's 4 jobs. There might be 5.
Okay.
And it's like, yeah, it's I'm not saying no. I'm just saying like you might not have a whole lot to do.
Well, we can look at what other games we have. I saw that I still had that installed, and that was one that we were talking about just before, or we were talking about possibly starting at the start of the new year, and then I went, you know what? I want to get back into Final Fantasy. And I mean, I've enjoyed somewhat. I mean, I enjoy the stream. Maybe not so much what we're doing every day.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's just too much running around.
There are a lot of quests that are quick teleport over here, then teleport back, then teleport back over there, then teleport back here, and then you're done. And it's all like, oh, okay, so you just want me to spend 750 gil. Can I just hand it to you and we can move forward?
Like, honestly, I feel like a lot of this, it would probably be better if I was just doing this on my own and then have like a day once in a while where we do the raids so that I can continue the story instead of pulling you along the entire time.
It's a bunch of these quests, and then one dungeon, and then a bunch of these quests, and then another like trial, and then a bunch of these quests, and then another dungeon. Like,
yeah, I know.
It would legitimately just be like a stream of me joining for you to do one dungeon, and then you back to doing the monotonous stuff by yourself. So that's why
I would probably go back to doing all the voices. That's the other thing, is I felt like doing the voices is fun. It kind of dawned on me that like doing the voices takes a lot longer to read through, and so you and Roger are just sitting here for longer waiting for me, and then we just run to another point and do something really quick, and then it's more talking. So there's a lot of standing around and you two doing nothing, and that started to make me get that like guilty complex, like I don't want to keep holding them up when they've already done this and now they're just sitting here waiting for me.
I honestly don't mind. Like, I really don't. Like, if I had a problem, I'd bring it up, but I honestly don't have a problem.
Okay. Well, maybe when we come back after our break, I'll start doing the voices again. Wait, what?
I'm looking at everything that I have installed on Steam.
Oh. I mean, I am constantly going through and cleaning things up. So right now, all that I have installed is, the multiplayer stuff that I have installed: Apex Legends, Master Chief Collection, Magicka, Red Dead Online, and this.
Wait, did I hear you say Apex Legends?
Yeah, I downloaded it because there's a non-binary hero. And that's like a selling point at this point for me. I'm like, oh.
I have an Origin account. Could probably reinstall that if we want to do that, maybe. But I have to look at all my stuff and figure out what's multiplayer and what you own. Because I know I have a lot of things that like. Because I was like, Vermintide was cool. We could do that again. And I went, wait, no, that was me and Sai who did that.
I mean, there's another, we never did finish the 3rd chapter of Van Helsing.
Yeah, but remember we were going to start it up again, and then it turns out that with the last update, they deleted all the saves, so we had to start over.
No, I don't remember that.
Yeah, they combined them all. They blended them all into one game, and the new game doesn't support the same save file.
I think you've forgotten the second time we played.
Was that the first time we played, moving into the second one, where we already started over?
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think the collection updated and removed our saves. I believe that was when we moved from the original standalones to the collection that we had to start over. But it ended up being a good thing because neither of us were really interested in our character anymore, so we both wanted different classes anyways.
Well, the original game didn't have characters. Like, the original game didn't have... They had, like, you were Van Helsing, they didn't have separate classes.
Oh, yeah.
Which resulted in us just not quickly. We eventually unlocked Excalibur and one of the highest powered guns, and then we were pretty much set for, like, the rest of the game. Because it turns out it was really easy to get Excalibur for some reason. Do you have No Man's Sky?
I do not have No Man's Sky. That is a
Roger.
expensive game that I have never considered adding to my library.
See, it took them like 4 years to finally hit the promise that they like. It's now at the level of the game that they promised it would be at launch. It's on sale for $30.
Chief didn't Moglin already explain? The shiny instrument we gave you is the best means of grabbing Hraesvelgr's attention. I'll come along and show you the way to Zenith. That's the big palace where you need to blow the horn.
Marvel's Avengers, and it has both of the Hawkeyes. I'm amazed that they did not combine the Hawkeyes.
Well, Hawkeye, Deaf Hawkeye, doesn't have the teleport ability and is a little more physical in attacking from the sounds of it, whereas the better Hawkeye, no, they're both good. Kate Bishop, I don't understand the explanation or reasoning for them to be adding her as a teleporter. From what I can see, Clint is more like, what's her name? Black Widow. So he just like has a way to connect and pull himself up to ledges instead of teleporting to them.
Oh, for a second I thought this game didn't have a store page anymore, and I was about to get afraid. Okay, well, you don't own that one anyway, so it doesn't matter.
Well,
The Isle.
the Isle.
It's a it's like a survival game, except it's dinosaurs, so you don't have to like build bases or anything. You just have to find food, which is other dinosaurs or plants. You can become a plant eater, but then of course you have to worry about the fact that other dinosaurs find you delicious. And it hasn't been updated in a long time. Like, it's been in early access for like... Oh, actually, they did have a dev log in February. That's actually amazing. It had been quiet for like almost 3 years, and then in January they had a dev log letting people know that it was still being worked on. That's actually a little surprising. You don't own that, so...
I saw that... What's the word? Grounded? Is that the one where we were little?
Yep. Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, the game. Yep.
Magic School Bus, the game. Oh, I just one-shot that dragon. So sorry. You just one-shot both of those dragons.
I needed to hit one, and then I turned it the other.
Okay.
Yeah, you don't want
I,
to play Dark Souls, which I totally understand because it's a headache in a game.
I didn't say I don't want to play Dark Souls. However, I don't like the idea of trying to play it online and having assholes come in and just wreck your shit just because they've got nothing better to do.
Yeah,
That seems like a game that I would want to do just strictly offline, so that way I can focus on the game and not assholes.
I like if From Software suddenly announced that they've made it possible to make private sessions so only invites can join, there'd be a quarter of the populace who'd be super pissed because now they can't grief, and then the other 3/4 of the game population would be happy that they don't have to be constantly griefed anymore. Because it's like, I would love to say that it's only a problem in Dark Souls 3 because it's the newest, but no, there are some, for some reason, dickheads who still play Dark Souls 1 just to mess with people who are trying to go through it.
And you're not talking about Dark Souls Remastered, you're talking about the original, or...
No, the original Prepare to Die edition.
Okay.
Like, the one that's on PC. Like, there are still dick waffles who hop in just to
I was gonna
mess with
say, if we're talking about remastered, it makes sense why the dick waffles have resurged, but...
And so, yeah.
I noticed that Grounded finally got a release date. I saw it's in June that it's coming.
Really? That's neat.
That is certainly one that I want to get back into. Although maybe now that it has an official release date, waiting a couple months until we actually get there, and then dedicating a couple weeks.
Because I'm betting as soon as early access is over, they're going to wipe all the worlds that have been made.
Yeah, that would make the most sense.
There's Darksiders Genesis. I know you don't own it, but that one's a that's a 2-player co-op game.
I did see that. I think I was looking at like a list of co-op or multiplayer games, and I saw that pop up.
It's top-down action RPG, so sort of like Diablo. 2-player, obviously. And it's a prequel to the Darksiders series, so you don't necessarily need to play all 3. It might have hints, but the fact that it's War, who's in the first one, and Strife, who technically only pops up as his pistols in all 3 because he doesn't actually show up as an actual character in any of them. So
I never ended up beating the first Darksiders. I just kind of got bored.
I know I beat it on Xbox. I haven't beat it on PC, even though I own it. There's more GTFO if we ever want to. I don't know when that Alien Invasion game comes out, but there's there's Aliens Fireteam whenever it comes out, but I have no idea when it actually is. Plus, it may end up being terrible like the last Colonial Marines game did. Yes, it's summer of 2021, so it's not coming out for at least another 3 months.
The thing with GTFO is it's a good one-off. I'm not saying I'll never play it again. It was good to do once and then that's it, but it's not one that I think I would have the drive to just do week in and week out. And we still got at least Halo 2 and 3. Technically Halo 4. Halo 4 is not a requirement. Whee! Oh, tree. We killed that tree.
I'm gonna just drop you off here, and I have to go help Carolyn. She seems to have managed to change the audio language for some reason on whatever she's watching, so I have to go fix it.
All right.
I'm back. She
Well,
dropped the controller, and Disney Plus decided that meant to change the language to German without asking.
I mean, maybe it was a defensive maneuver. Take evasive action. 9. See, I was right to worry about the boy's safety. Once Alphino returns with the wood, we can see about supper.
Gross.
Are we gonna eat Alphino?
It's just been a long, elaborate ruse to get Alphino cornered.
Get in my belly.
Alright, now that Alphino is here, there's only one thing missing from this pot. What's that? Push.
This is a very weird cutscene with no talking. Are we waiting for someone to arrive? Is that what's happening?
We're waiting for Alphino.
Alphino's back.
We're waiting for him to deposit the wood.
Ah, few things compare to the simple pleasure of sitting behind a crackling campfire of one's own making. So speaks the great explorer. Until recently, you wouldn't have recognized firewood if it came with kindling and a flint. 'Tis well you instructed me so patiently then. But yes, left to my own devices, I would have been compelled to signal to ye sail with a pile of damp leaves. Is that a euphemism? You sail? Won't you come tend to my damp leaf pile?
It's like the euphemism for like the worst possible thing possible.
I have swamp crotch. I was born the pampered son of a Charlean dignitary, and alongside my twin became the youngest student ever to be accepted into the studium. How proud I was to match wits with scholars and philosophers, how ignorant of mine own shortcomings. That hubris invited manipulation and betrayal, led to the downfall of the Scions. We all of us are guilty of similar ignorance. How many men lay down their lives never knowing what it is they fight for, never questioning that which they have been taught to believe. 'Twas only upon meeting Hraesvelgr that I learned the truth hidden within our history. Were it not for that chance encounter, I would have never vowed to tear down the Holy See and expunge the falsehoods with which it fans the flames of conflict. If this journey has taught me anything, its importance and difficulty of holding one's own convictions in the face of failure, striving always to replace one's ignorance with knowledge. You are well on your way, Master Alphino. At your age I was but a fool swinging a spear, scarcely a thought in my head. Even now I struggle to acknowledge the misconceptions under which I have labored. Sitting here amongst the grand ruins, How can I deny the man and dragon once lived in peace? But for all such an age existed, we are now in a time of war. Nidhogg killed my family, and no quirk of history will exonerate him. So that's why you stole his eye. In my hands resides the power to vanquish a great worm. If Ishgard's survival rests on me wielding that power, I will slay Nidhogg myself. Orders or no. Estinian, you gave your word. My word is contingent upon the success of our parley. Show me the strength of your convictions, Lady Iceheart. Convince Hraesvelgr of the righteousness of your cause. Doubt not, but I shall, Dragoon. Winds willing, we shall have our answers on the morrow. Why did we have to wait till morning to blow the horn?
It's not even nighttime.
The stars were out in the cutscene. Campfire was so cozy, I must have fallen asleep. Do you feel how the winds have shifted? They will have borne Hraesvelgr back to the skies above Zenith, I'm sure of it. This is your chance to climb to the highest floor of the palace and summon him with a toot on that shiny horn.
Oh, that's an innuendo if I ever did hear one.
Toot, 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 Senora. Toot your horn just right. Wait for me.
Oh, sorry. I didn't know you were done yet.
Ah.
I do mildly feel like this part is cheating. Instead of walking and murdering all these monsters on your way up to the top, just quickly fly on over.
Yeah, this could be part of the disconnect that is happening.
Could be.
I don't know. Destination. Well, that was way more musical than I was expecting.
It just sounds like an old Nokia cell phone ringing. Oh, God damn it, that's where it was. Fuck.
Mortals, why do you disturb my solitude? Ooh, pretty white dragon. Blue feathers. Why does dragon have feathers?
Oh, I am doing that quest. So like exiting new game quest because you completed the chapter.
Oh, is this the end of the chapter? I thought we had quite a few missions left. Hraesvelgr. You know what? Reminds me of the dragon from the Never-Ending Story.
If you want to join us, Matthew, we just started Heavensward Part 2. I just started in New Game Plus, I mean.
Thou speakest the name of a creature that but awaiteth the release of oblivion. Leave me.
By the 12. Mine ears hear the tongue of dragons, yet the meaning rings clear within my mind.
Wait,
can
this
that
is
be?
voiced.
Hraesvelgr, do you not remember me?
for the love of... What?
You're gonna have to read the dragon's lines out, because if I remember right, he's talking in dragons.
The truth about your past. About
okay.
Shiva.
I mean,
Why does
if you
he
want,
only
you
have
can read
one eye too?
it. They're all pirates.
Okay, so that's the voice I had in mind. Why have you come here? Oh, you're right. Do not speak her name, mortal.
But speak it I must. I have summoned Shiva's soul from the beyond and offered myself as her vessel. She has made her heart known to me.
Foolish girl, thinkest thou my beloved spirit hath descended from the heavens? That the secrets of her heart are thine to know?
I have surrendered mine to her. Do you not see, my love? I am Shiva reborn.
Are you gonna show your Shiva self? Gullible fool! The light but illuminated the past for thee, it did not grant thee omniscience. The spirit thou hast summoned belongeth not to Shiva. 'Tis but a shade conjured by thine own fancy. In an age long past, mine own kin were guilty of like folly. Beguiled by the Dark One's lies, they attempted to resurrect a king amongst worms. Yet the divinity they called forth merely borrowed the semblance of my fallen brood brother. Such gods are not summoned, but created. Phantoms spun from the threads of misplaced faith.
Then the spirit that answered me.
Was but thy dream of Shiva. Thy soul has been corrupted by a deity of thine own making, child. Oof. That's a harsh blow.
Be that as it may, Lord Hraesvelgr, Izel's desire to heal the rift between man and dragon is real, and it has borne us this far. We would spare both our kind and yours the ravages of this senseless war. Pray join your voice to ours in a call for peace and forgiveness.
The tale of thy kind is one of avarice, treachery, and death, and thou wouldst speak of me to me of peace. Hark thee, mortal, to the naked truth. Then tell me thou deservest forgiveness. What's the naked truth? Oh, 1200 years ago, my beloved Shiva's sacrifice served to bring an end to the war twixt man and dragon, paving the way for an age of peace and cooperation. 2 centuries of harmony were to follow, during which time the Elezen learned much about us, not least that the eyes of a great worm are the wellspring of his strength. 'Twas out of this selfish desire to possess the strength that King Thordan then conspired to undo all that our peoples had achieved together. With the aid of his leal knights, the most noble of Elezen lured my brood sister Ratatoskar into an ambush, took from her that which she craved. Ratatoskar, that's the squirrel that runs up the world tree. Hraesvelgr's not the squirrel. What?
No, Hraesvelgr, like, all the names are devoted to Old Norse mythology.
I just wasn't
Hraesvelgr
expecting.
was the eagle on the branch of the tree.
Yeah, okay. I knew that name sounded familiar.
And then there's, of course, Nidhogg. who's
Yeah,
the-
which is the one that goes through the roots. And there was, who's the one that we fought, or that I fought for the Dragoon quest in Realm Reborn?
I don't know. I don't remember the Dragoon quest.
Oh. It's okay, neither do I. Fain would I strike the image from my mind, yet still the scene doth linger, of my brood sister's tattered corpse, defiled by the Ellison allies. They had torn out her eyes and feasted upon them in the manner of wild beasts. That's thick. That was not all. From their bloody banquet the fiends had gained strength beyond that of mortal men. Even now I labor to comprehend the enormity of their betrayal. Nidhogg was the first to learn of the atrocity. He took to the skies, hungry for vengeance. Though he slew Thordan and some of his knights, their fellow butchers knew only too well where to aim their spears, and with now practiced savagery they set about my brood brother, sending him flailing from the field. Such is the truth of the Holy See would keep hidden. Such was the beginning of the Dragon Song War. 'Tis a song my kind shall ne'er forget, e'en though 10,000 years pass, and Ishgard crumbles into dust.
Your tale bears scant resemblance to the one I was taught. How convenient that it should absolve your kind of all responsibility. But tell me, Dragon, why should I believe your version of events?
What thou choosest to believe is immaterial. The betrayal that yet haunts mine every waking moment is no less than the truth to my kind. Nidhogg meaneth for Thordan's people to suffer for his sin, till the end of days. That which thou imaginest a war of extinction is but a punishment, a siege of the spirit. Hast thou not seen those who tire of torment, those who abandon their own and side with dragonkind?
Ishgard's so-called heretics.
Know that all the traitors' progeny bear a trace of Radatosker's essence. But a single sip of our blood is enough to awaken it.
Then, the seed lies within us.
'Tis for this reason that those who abandon their loyalties are rewarded with a drink. Thus they are transformed to join the ranks of Nidhogg's ever-growing army as newborn dragons. One by one, through death or defection, my brood brother shall account for all of the betrayer's children.
Ye gods, I have borne witness to such a transformation. Looked on as a heretic assumed the shape of a dragon. I imagined it some manner of Dravanian enchantment. But if any Ishgardian, regardless of allegiance, has such potential within them, 12 forgive us. To think of all the dragons we've slain.
There will always be some, of course, who choose to fight until the bitter end. Like thee, Dragoon. Struggle as thou might, thy youthful vigor will be spent ere thou reachest 70. Nidhogg shall remain to torment thine offspring.
Oft have I wondered why Nidhogg did not simply raze Ishgard to the ground. Now I have my answer. He has no intention of winning the Dragonsong War, for it is no war at all, but vengeance, an eternal requiem sung for his murdered sister.
Thou hast the right of it, Dragon Slayer. Comprehendest thou now the futility of thy quest?
I have not come this far only to admit defeat. We can still return the eye to Nidhogg and beg forgiveness for our ancestors' crimes. Mayhap our words will sway him.
Stubborn child, thou thinkest in mortal terms. Our perception of time is too broad to thee. 'Tis a simple matter for thee to offer thine apologies. Thou didst not perpetrate the crime. Despite thy visions, the deeds of history seem distant to thee. How old are these dragons? For a worm such as Nidhogg, however, that history is yet part of his present, as fresh as the blood that did gush from her wounds. How could he not be driven mad? 'Tis only by the calming embrace of Shiva's soul that mine own fury hath not consumed me. But let us speak no more of what is done. My faith in your kind is spent, and I would be alone. Well, that went well. Hraesvelgr was every bit awe-inspiring as I imagined. His voice fairly dripped with power. The will behind his words is undeniable, that it has transcended my ignorance of the dragon's tongue. 'Tis but a pity that I misliked what he said. So far did we travel, even under the very heavens themselves, only to be dismissed like unruly children. Far from mitigating this humiliation, the hidden truths we have learned serve only to prove that our grand mission of peace was destined to fail. Nothing will deter Nidhogg from his course. You just gotta believe. So this next quest, the Worm's Lair, is actually part of the next chapter?
I think it's splitting up the because it's still Heavensward. It's not part of 2.1 or 3.1. So, I mean, if you want to pause it here, this is a good spot because this is where Roger can easily catch up whenever if he decides to join back. But if you don't, we can keep going.
Yeah, it's just so when I went to the Final Fantasy wiki, it split them into levels. So we're in the level 54 to level 55. There's 17 quests. We just completed Heart of Ice, so Worm's Lair is at the halfway point in here. It ends the level 54 to 55 at The Song Begins, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 away. So that's where I was thinking would be the good place to call it. But if this is the end of that chapter, this makes it an easy point for Roger to pick up to. I'm okay with us dropping it here, and we can pick something new for next week.
Whatever you want to do.
And I mean, that was a big cutscene, so that was actually a good ending spot for... I assume if we got to The Song Begins, it would also be a substantial cutscene, but...
I honestly don't know.
This does seem like a pretty good stopping point. So we'll do that. Oh, I gotta lock that again. So we'll figure out what game we can start up next week. And then we'll come back to Final Fantasy XIV in a couple months, whenever the urge comes back to me.
We